down, you bastard!
Brought to you by supporters who probably have better taste than this schmuck.
Triple changes are a very difficult thing to get right, especially at the Legend scale. It's why not a lot of them have been done. I mean, really, we've got Iron Factory Blitzwing, Iron Factory Soundwave, and the 3 that I'm about to discuss now. Triple changes are already really difficult to do, but to shrink them down to a small scale, that's the kicker. You have to make them simple enough to be fun and enjoyable, but you also have to make them not look like shit. And it's not the same as making combiners. Most of the time, they stay the same as in 1 or 2 modes, just kind of partially folded up. Triple changes have to go through drastic changes. And that's pretty much why MechFansToys has been the only company to attempt such. So I really wanted to see how they did. I really wanted to see all 3 of the main Decepticon trio. Did it do well? Did it do terribly? Well, there's only one way to find out. And MechFansToys is a very interesting case because they've sort of stopped recently. MechFansToys is the same arm as Doctor Wu, and given how crazy Doctor Wu figures are going at the moment, they haven't really kept up on this scale. Why go big legends when you can go really small legends, I guess? And it's a real shame because I would have loved to have seen more triple changes done in this style. They did get most of them done, but you know, it would have been nice. And these kind of work in my size because I've always liked my triple changes a bit bigger. Either way though, this is a very nice locomotive. Like many MechFansToys pieces, it is very simple, but it uses that simplicity to its advantage. It's not the cleanest. You can see from the side that it's sort of G1-esque in how the paneling works, where the panels are very visible. But the detail on those panels is done very well, especially with the wheels and levers and everything here. So it draws your attention away from the messy parts up there. I mean, yes, those are just the arms on show. Yes, this part is completely left as is. But it doesn't really matter because the details that are here do very well. One thing I do find a bit annoying is that you've got this big gap here at the top, which is for the gun, which I have unfortunately lost. I would have preferred if there was a way to just cover that up and maybe have it store on the inside here. But still, it's a very lovely train. The front is a little bit simple and there's not really much of a smokestack, but it's a Legends figure. What you gonna do? Sacrifices do have to be made. You don't have a bigger figure to fit all of that triple changing engineering in there. And may I remind you, this is a triple changer. It's a very complex triple changer. There's not a lot they can do. Unfortunately, he has no wheels. These are all fake, but I feel it's a bit more understandable here. Given how complex the Astrotrain conversion is, even by G1 standards, it makes sense that they had to cut some things, especially from these tiny panels that need to fold into everything else. I mean, you can even see how it sort of transforms with the hinges there. You know, there's not a lot they can do. It makes more sense here than, say, something like DNA Wheelie, where it's a very simple conversion and they could have easily added wheels. Here, at least there's a reason for it. So I can definitely cut them some slack. There's not a lot of paint on show, aside from some color corrections, some purple up here that blends in quite well. Here, the gunmetal on the side, and a really nice yellow window at the back here. Yellow is a very difficult color to do, so the fact that they pulled this off is very commendable. Would have liked maybe some more paints, and if they ever made a repro label set, I'd probably grab one of those, but still, it's a very nice set. It doesn't do a lot, but it is a chunky, fun Astrotrain, and I love that. I will say though, because people will ask me regardless, I do kind of prefer the Earthrise version, or the Siege version. It's supposed to be an Earthrise figure, but it got brought forward, so I'm just gonna call it Earthrise. I just prefer a lot of the details on this particular train mode, even though this one's technically a lot cleaner. The Siege/Earthrise version just has a lot more greebling. It's just more up my alley. But if you're looking for something more G1, this will do you just fine. It's probably a technically cleaner one because it's not doing as many things as the Earthrise version, not taking as many risks, and that may be better for you. That may be more up your alley, but for me, I'm more of an official person with this. Anywho, size-wise, he's a bit bigger than most of your average Legends figure, so he is 12 centimeters by 3 centimeters in both width and height. And for comparisons, here he is next to a standard Legion figure, a standard Core Class figure, so he is substantially bigger than that, a standard modern Micromaster, a standard modern Minicon, a not-so-standard Lego minifigure, and Crumbs. Astrotrain's transformation is very G1. Like, if you've messed with G1 Astrotrain, you basically know how this works. You bring up the wings on the sides here, untab them from the side, and they just sit there. Bring them down here, and we'll bring these down so we've got more clearance. Bring down the side panels here and here. We need to get this bit out, so we'll basically just open these up. These panels will open up like so. Cow catchers will rotate inwards, allowing you to bring the nose cone out, just like so. And then the cow catchers sit inside the body. The whole thing thing collapses again. Just make sure when it collapses that these tabs all come together again. These will then slot into the sides there. And last but not least, we bring up the fin at the back, and we are done. Nice and simple, feels like it would work on a Hasbro figure. It's basically the G1 transformation, and it works really well. Hooray! I'm just noticing, I probably should put some Decepticon symbols on these. Whoops. In Shuttle Mode, Astrotrain is very, very G1, specifically very G1 tuned. They're not going for a realistic shuttle, they're going for Sunbow accuracy, and I think it does it exceptionally. It does it without the need for a billion panels that go here and there. It just does a few simplified steps and they all work really well. The train details make themselves very hidden. It's a bit messy to the side here, but you know, Legends figure, what you gonna do? The coloring is really what brings it to life, especially now that there's not a lot of detail. There's a bit of line work on the wings, but that's really about it. So the gorgeous colors really bring it to life. Aside from the really nice yellow and red paint, which are done both very well, and again, those paint colors are very difficult to do. The purple is resplendent. I know there's less purple than there was in the train mode, but I think it actually looks better here against this really rich stone gray. I don't know how stone gray can be rich, but in this instance, it really is. It's just a lovely, luscious figure from every angle, and I love the clear yellow cockpit as well. It just really brings this nose cone section to life. I do think it could be a bit longer at the front here, but again, it's pretty complex for the size. Even though this is a bit bigger than your average Legends figure, they're still basically adhering to a specific size. I mean, it's not a lot smaller than the Classics original, and I mean, that was already a small deluxe for the time, and this is a big Legends figure, so it's essentially a small deluxe. And they really pulled it off very well. I mean, I guess the fin at the back could be a bit bigger, and maybe the thrusters could be a bit bigger, but they still look pretty good. The thrusters especially. The fin, take it or leave it, it has to fold into there. There's not a lot of room they have in the engineering already, and they're trying to make this fun and enjoyable, and I think they've succeeded. Also, I think it goes without saying, he's easily the best of the 3 shuttles in my collection. Well, technically 4, because I also have G1. 5, no, I actually have the Just-A-Toys version as well. But out of these versions, these modern versions here, I mean, I love Earthrise, but it does have some jank in this mode. This was the mode where they made the most compromises. And I also love Classics. I think this is just adorable for being a deluxe, but you can definitely see it's got the issues with the train parts on the side. This doesn't have that. It's easily the best shuttle in the collection. Actually, wait, no, technically I have 6 because I also have the Zeta/Toy World version, but that's a piece of shit. We don't talk about that. It betrayed me! The clear plastic broke! Anyway, I don't really have a lot to say about this other than it's great. So he is 14 centimeters long and has a wingspan of 10 centimeters. You may have noticed, but I don't really bother for height with aerial modes because that's not really part of the point. It's just not something I do. Size-wise, here he is next to a standard Legion figure, a standard Core Class figure, a standard modern Micromaster, a standard modern Minicon, a not-so-standard Lego minifigure, which is refusing to focus, and Crumbs, which is also refusing to focus. Transformation into robot mode basically works how you'd expect. I mean, we've had so many Astrotrains over the years. They've kind of got this transformation down pat. Bring the wings down and out of the way, separate the legs so that we can get everything out, bring these sections up, which will allow you to bring these down. Then you got a tab there and a slot there, and they come together, and that holds everything together in place. Much better way than the old Iron Factory pull-out method. The pull-out method never works. Anyway, you want to bring that up, get this back into its train mode configuration, because now the cowcatcher becomes the foot. Nice extra use of the existing mass. I love it when they do that. Nice and simple. The arms rotate out to the side like so. This panel rotates out, allowing you to get the fists out, and they click into place, and that comes down. You then bring this down, and the panel comes and covers that up. Again, nice use of mass, the way the panel covers up the rest of the arm and allows everything to have clearance. It's just really good. Fin folds down. This panel opens up to reveal the head, and that rotates down. This whole section rotates down into place, and that can fold into the backpack. It doesn't really peg into place, but it does sit there solidly enough, and then you can get the wings into place, get the arms into place, however you like, and your Astrotrain is done. In robot mode, Astrotrain looks fantastic. Like, there's very little kibble on show. There's very few aesthetic oddities. He just basically works right out the gates. A lot of that does come down to the fact that Astrotrain's G1 toy was very good for the time. Not articulation-wise, but in conversion-wise, the way everything functioned. But this is a really lovely figure. And also a lot of that comes down to the fact that he is a bit bigger than your average Legends figure. I mean, bringing in a core class, you can see he does tower over a lot of them. But I feel that does work for the triple changes. I feel they should be a bit beefier. I'm not really a scale nut, but it is something nice. Head sculpt is absolutely lovely. Third-party head sculpts can can be a bit iffy, but this is very nice, and again, it's bringing back that wonderful yellow paint. Paint that could easily go poorly, but no, not in this case. I do kind of wish the shoulders had a bit of paint on those circles there. It would have been a nice touch, but it still works reasonably well. Proportions on the arms, the legs are all good. That metallic red on his midriff, that is just lovely. Just kind of swinging around, there's barely any kibble on this guy. I mean, they do have the chunks of the vehicle modes, but that's not really kibble per se. That's just part of the design. There's not a lot that I can really point out and go, wow, that's amazing, but there's virtually nothing that I can point out and say, wow, that kind of sucks. Like, my one big complaint is that he's got a mono skirt. Unfortunately, it doesn't really separate, but that's it. That's like the one complaint I have. This is a really bloody good Astrotrain. Messing with it now, this probably should have been on one of the best of the year lists, and I'm kind of bummed out I didn't put it on one of those. I guess you always overlook figures. You always overlook them and don't give them the attention they deserve until much later. Videos aren't the be-all end-all. We all change our opinions throughout our lives. We look back and realize that maybe we were wrong about certain figures, and what can you do? Articulation is really great. You got a nice ball-jointed head, although it doesn't really get a lot of up and down, and it does get stopped by the pylons here, but it's okay. It's not really that bad. Ball-jointed shoulders that work really well. Oh yeah, and these wings move up and down and also forward and back. That is another gripe I do actually have. I wish these wings rotated backwards like the Earthrise version, but still, it's fine. Also, I wish this would tab in, but again, it's fine. It's a Legends figure. What are you gonna do? Bicep swivels and a 90-degree elbow. No wrists, but it's fine. Nice waist swivel, singular hip skirt, and full motion on the ball joints, although the legs do get a bit in the way when going back. Also, weirdly, when you move it forward, it kind of moves out to the side because of how it's cut, but it's not really going to be that much of an issue for you. Thigh swivel works fine, 90-degree knee, and of course, the ankle is the cow catcher, and it's on the ball joints. And it works remarkably well. Actually, I do have one other complaint. These, unfortunately, don't tab in very solidly. They just sit there by friction. But really, it's just so minor. It's not really a lot wrong with it. This is not a figure that I can go on and on and on about or everything it does, because it doesn't do a lot. It just functions. It just does what it's supposed to do. There's personal things I would have liked. I would have liked if the wing could have popped out and split open, but given the size, I don't really see that happening. Just in general, it's a really nice Astrotrain, and I don't really have a lot to say about it, aside from the fact that he goods is just nice and solid in all three modes, and I like that. Surprisingly though, he's actually my least favorite Astrotrain in robot mode. Technically, he's probably better than the other two, but I just find way more visual interest with these. I know I've put a lot of toy hacks into this one, and I know this one's a very acquired taste for many people, because it's definitely not G1 accurate. But I don't know, I just like the way these two look better, even though the hardware in this Astrotrain is way superior. This guy has articulation that's way above this, and a little bit above that. Aside from the wings, I feel this missing those wings is a bit of a missed opportunity. I mean, even the Classics version can move the wings back. Come on. That's just something Astrotrain should be able to do, screen accuracy or no. Also, I just prefer the chest wing thing, but that's just my thing. But no, on a technical level, he vastly outclasses these two. It's just personally, I think I prefer these ones. You can like different toys for different things, and no one's stopping you, and I guess this is one of those cases for me. Anyway, size-wise, he's once again about 10-ish centimeters wide in the wingspan, though they can go further out, and 12 centimeters tall. And for comparisons, here he is next to a standard Legion figure, a standard Core Class figure, a standard modern Micromaster, a standard modern Minicon, a not-so-standard Lego minifigure, and crumbs. I realize Astrotrain had a lot of the work done for him already, because the G1 toy is really good. All they really have to do is recreate that in modern engineering, and it works great. But I also recognize that beyond that, MechFansToys has done this really well. It is an effortlessly simple piece, and that can be deceptive. It's so simple, so why should you rate it so high? Well, that kind of simplicity is something you don't often see. Often third-party companies will overcomplicate and overcomplicate and overcomplicate and overcomplicate, and as a result, it just won't be a fun experience. But MechFansToys didn't do that. They did it really well, and I have to commend them for that. This might be the categorically best Astrotrain in my collection. It's not my favorite, but if you look at everything, it's probably the best engineered. And that's really commendable, even considering the fact that the G1 toy was already really good. So if you want one, go for it. It's gonna meet your expectations to the T and perhaps even surpass them. Easy recommend from me. No complaints. So why stop there? Why only do one of the three? I mean, they made a whole trio. Should we continue them? Absolutely we should. So let's do just that. See y'all tomorrow!